What's going on, people? Live Dogs MMA here. We got an awesome card this weekend, UFC 304 in England. I'm kind of excited about it. There's a lot of good matches on this. There's a lot of good bets on here. So I just wanted to do a quick breakdown of it. I may do another one after the weigh-ins when I've done a little bit more research and I've seen these guys on the scale. But for now, this is just kind of free flow, just kind of what I'm thinking. It's kind of my first real look at the card. So without further ado, let's bust it wide open. First fight, Shauna Bannon versus Alice Adderley. I don't know how to say Alice Adderley. Now, I didn't really know much about her. I have seen her Twitter. She's like a Twitter twerker. She got her OnlyFans and all that. But then I started diving into her record and really looking at her, and she's fought some pretty good competition compared to Shauna Bannon. She's also got more fights than her, more experience, and this is on short notice. She looks like a bigger and stronger woman out there as well. Shauna Bannon really hasn't fought anybody. She didn't look great in her UFC debut. I just don't think she's going to have anything that's going to threaten Alice Adderley. So, going into this, I was like, I don't, you know what I mean? But then I'm really looking, and shockingly, she's got more fights. She's got more experience, and she looks like the bigger chick out there. So I think they kind of wanted to set a win up for Shauna Bannon, being she's from Britain and all that. Well, she's Irish, but you know what I mean? Like, they all, they got their history, but they all kind of, they're chilling. But I think they picked the wrong one, man. So it's Alice Adderley for me. Next up, we got Mick Parkin versus Lucas Brzeski. I think a lot of people sleep on Lucas Brzeski. He's better than he gets credit for. I thought he won his fight against Martin Buday. He got robbed. He beat his ass, in my opinion. Mick Parkin, good dude. Pretty good striking. Trains with Tom Aspinall. But, not overall impressive. I think he could be in better shape. Wouldn't even be surprised, he's the type of dude that I need to see him improving. If he's not continuously improving, then he's just hot shit on a pavement. You know what I mean? Like, he looks good right now, but I haven't really been impressed with him. That being said, he's got the better striking, and I do think he will beat Brzeski here, but don't be shocked if Brzeski gives him a little bit of a run. I'm going to take Mick Parkin, though, because, he just seems like he's got the better striking, and he can keep it on the feet, so he can kind of work his game. So that's all I got for that one. Sam Patterson versus Kiefer Crosby. Kiefer Crosby is long, rangy, not a horrible striker. He's got pretty good jiu-jitsu. And Kiefer Crosby has been submitted before. He was submitted by, what's his name? Kevin Gisette. Kevin Gisette is not he's got submissions. He's a lot more well-rounded than we've seen, so definitely keep that in mind. But overall, he's not a submission guy. From what I've seen, he's a kickboxer. So that doesn't look good. I think Sam Patterson's just a better fighter overall. I think he'll run into some trouble with the jiu-jitsu. He could get called early. We've seen that before. And I think that there are some people that doubt Sam Patterson and will take an underdog over him just based on some of his past performances. But I think he's better than we've seen. And so I'm going to ride with him here, Sam Patterson. And I think he's worth a parlay piece. Next up, Mohamed Mokaev versus Manel Kape. Man, I really wanted to pick Manel Kape here. He's got all the tools to win. He could catch Mohamed Mokaev coming in with a knee, a kick, anything. But at the end of the day, he's real comfortable just sitting back, being kind of lazy out there. There's a couple fighters like that on this card. And I think that's going to get him in trouble here. And if he comes out too aggressive and too hot and takes that anger out, he's going to get taken down. So either way you look at it, when you look at Manel Kape's style, I just see a lot of takedowns He'll get back up, but the pressure, the wrestling, just gonna be too much for him. You know, he's always got the ability to prove us wrong, and I hope he does. But if I'm putting my money on it, I gotta go with Muhammad Mokaev. Next up, we got Oban Elliott versus Preston Parsons. This is the most close fight, I think. This is the closest fight on the card. These guys, they match up really well, kind of evenly matched, you know. Oban Elliott, he had a pretty good decision win last time. He showed, you know, he can get through adversity. He showed a well-rounded skill set. Preston Parsons, he's had some bad spots in the UFC. He's been in some trouble too. But he just seems like he's more well-rounded. He's a little bit better striker, a little bit more clean out there. His jiu-jitsu wrestling, I think, is a little bit better as well. So I can see why he's a slight favorite, and I'm going to edge towards him. I'm going to slightly pick him. But I have a feeling, it's just a gut feeling, that Oban Elliott's going to come out and win. For some reason, I don't know if it's just because he's a local guy or what. I just get a feeling that this one might shock us. But I'm going to play it safe and go with Preston Parsons. But if you're looking for a dog so far on the card, Oban would be an ignorant underdog pick. But let's go Parsons on this one. Now, if the lines move on Saturday, I wake up Saturday and, you know, if they've changed and he's a big dog, I'm going to sprinkle on it for sure. But, you know, at these odds, yeah. And when I'm looking at just the skill set, it's Preston Parsons. Next up, we got Modestas Bukauskas versus Marcin Prachnio. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this one. I think Marcin Prachnio is going to win. One of the best dogs on the card right now. It looks kind of even on paper, but if you look at their wins and losses, you can see Marcin Prachnio was choked out by Victor Petrino. But Modestas Bukauskas is not going to choke him out. Marcin Prachnio beat Khalil Roundtree. Modestas Bukauskas could not hang with Khalil Roundtree. Marcin Prachnio is just a better kickboxer, and I think this is going to be a kickboxing match. So, for me, it just boils down to that. Marcin Prachnio, that's a live dog, baby. Next up, we got Colin Loughran, however you say it, versus Jake Hadley. I'm picking Colin Loughran. He's going to out-wrestle him. He's going to be the bigger guy in there because this is at 135. Jake Hadley's already kind of a smaller 125er anyway. He's had some weight issues, but I think it's just because of discipline. You know, he's not big out there. On paper, he looked good. Coming to the UFC, he looked good, but I think he's going to end up being a flop, man, and I hate to say it. But, yeah, for me, it's Colin Loughran all day. So, you know, he's not going to be afraid of him. He's going to be bigger than him. He's got the wrestling, and he's got a little bit of power in the hands, too, at this weight class, you know, so I don't see why you don't pick him. Next up, we got Molly the Can versus Bruna Brazil. Every time I see Molly the Can, I'm like, okay, I'm betting her opponent because she sucks. But she's got something that a lot of these women don't, and that's just this she's just stupid out there. She's just gonna go and throw it all at you. And a lot of these women, man, they're too feminine, they're too ladylike, they're not used to that. They get overwhelmed. Or they try to fire back and they just don't have it. You know, she will throw everything at you, come forward, and just get stupid with it. And that wins her fights. And, you know, as much as I wish she would never get a microphone, I just wish they'd never give her a microphone ever. I don't care if she gets a title. Like, she's abhorrent, and she annoys the hell out of me. And I think that's why I'm biased towards her sometimes. So I did put money on Bruna Brazil early. But looking at the fight now, like I mentioned before, or I'll mention later, she's lazy, man. She's not active enough. She doesn't work enough. She doesn't throw enough. That's not gonna give Molly any problems. That's gonna play into Molly's game and let Molly close that distance with her tiny little arms and put in some work, you know. So that's what I worry about for Bruna Brazil here. I'm still gonna pick Bruna Brazil because I want to ride with my early bet. And I'm not a fan of Molly the Can. But if you got to bet on Molly the Can, you know, I wouldn't even bet on this fight, you know, now that I'm looking at it. But I did. I jumped the gun. And I like the underdog. So I'm going to ride with Bruna Brazil. But who knows? It's anybody's fight at the end of the day. When it's women's MMA, it's Molly the Can. I mean, you don't know. But, you know, I think Bruna Brazil is a better fighter. I think she's got all the tools she needs. It's just, is she going to work enough? Is she going to be active enough? Is she going to be able to keep Molly the Can away? And I'm not sure. So it's a risky bet. It's a risky pick. But we're in the risky business, right? So I'm going to ride with Bruna Brazil. Next up, we got Nathaniel Wood versus Daniel Pineda. This one's easy, man. It's Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood, I think they're putting Daniel Pineda in here to lose. Nathaniel Wood is underrated. He's had some tough losses, some bad luck in his career, but he's good as hell. This is his fight to win. He's going to pick him apart. He can pick him apart at range. He can fight him in the pocket. He could be a little chinny at times. Daniel Pineda could get a shot off. But he ain't going to out-wrestle him, even if he brings a wrestling game, which I don't see much out of him. There's just, to me, I don't see anything outside of luck. I don't see any way that Daniel Pineda is winning this fight. So Nathaniel Wood all day, baby. Next up, Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. Arnold Allen, nothing else to say. Dude's a lock. If you look at his career, he's never really even lost, because the Movsar Evloev fight was really close. A lot of people had Movsar Evloev. I didn't. I mean, a lot of people thought Arnold Allen won. I did not, but I could see how you might have. And then he had the Max. Then you got, or before that, you had the Max Holloway. And he lost to Max Holloway, especially when it was competitive like this one. He won 2 rounds at least. You know, he won 2 rounds. It was competitive the whole time. I mean, Arnold Allen is underrated. He's so good. And I don't think Chikadze's got anything for him. This dude was competitive with Alex Caceres. And I love Alex Caceres, but come on, bro. Like, that's somebody you should be walking through if you're a high-level fighter, if you're on your way to title contention. And Giga Chikadze's not. So Arnold Allen is a clear pick here. I think he's a lock. He just does everything good. He's patient when he needs to be. And when he ain't, he does some crazy stuff like he did to Dan Hooker. I mean, you know, outside of Giga Chikadze maybe landed a Giga kick, he's going to get whooped, smoked. And that's it. Definitely want to put Arnold Allen on a parlay. I already did. And we'll get to that later. Next up, Chris Duncan versus Gregory Rodriguez. I haven't really seen enough of Christian Leroy Duncan to really for me to think he's going to win this fight. He hasn't shown me anything that tells me he can win this. This is a test for him. This is kind of like, that's what Gregory Rodriguez is. He's kind of like that. Okay, do you belong in the UFC? Like, are you going to compete here and get the eyes of the people? Like, you know what I mean? This is that test for him. If he passes this, then I'll be looking at him more closely. But this is Gregory Rodriguez's fight all the way. If he comes out aggressive, fights that RoboCop style, I think he wins. I think he's a live dog here. I just haven't seen enough out of Christian Duncan for me to pick him. So I wish I could dive a little more deep on that for you, but just like I said, this is just my first look at everything. And off the dome, I gotta go with Gregory Rodriguez. Next up, Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett, live dog, lock it. This guy's gonna win. Bobby Green, he's older, he's slowing down, his chin ain't what it was, and he can't grapple with Paddy. Paddy can get hit, and Bobby Green's got hands, and we know that. But who's Bobby Green just going out there and knocking out? Paddy's durable, man. People don't like the guy, but this is his fight, and I believe the odds are gonna flip. He's plus 105 right now. They're kind of jockeying back and forth. But Bobby Green, I think he might land a couple good shots on Paddy, but once they get to scrambling, they get to wrestling, they get some cage jockeying and all that in there, Paddy's going to submit him. So, yeah, Bobby Green is shouldn't be a favorite here. And I'm not calling him king. I need to see your family history, some royal lineage. You got to show me some paperwork before I call another man king. So he's Bobby Green. He's always going to be Bobby Green. And that's all I got to say about that too. So yeah, Paddy Pimblett for sure. Next up, we got Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades. I picked Curtis Blades early on. Like without thinking. Because Curtis Blades in that first fight looked like he was winning every exchange. Curtis Blades has some power. Curtis Blades has good wrestling. The problem with Curtis Blades, though, is he just doesn't put it all together at the right time. You know, I think it's a mental thing with him. He'll come out, he'll strike with you, then he'll wrestle with you, but he just doesn't mix it well, you know. And he just got that knockout over Chris Dawkins, so I think he's feeling his hands, and I think that's going to hurt him. And he took it to Tom Aspinall, which was a good game plan, but a bad one at the same time, because he showed he wasn't scared to trade with him. And I like that. And that's why at first I picked him. I'm like, man, if he just goes in with his power, but then you got to look at Tom Aspinall's speed. You got to look at Tom Aspinall's footwork. Never mind the fact that I've been telling everybody Tom Aspinall keeps his chin up when he exits out his combinations or when he leaves the clinch. That's why I thought Curtis could catch him. But I don't think Curtis has it. I think that Tom Aspinall is just going to dance circles around him because Curtis Blades is going to want to trade with him. And that's going to be his downfall. So you're not crazy if you pick Curtis Blades. You're not crazy at all. I'm not mad at you if you did, but at the end of the day, I did hedge it. But if I've got to make a pick, and if I make any more bets, they're going to be on Tom Aspinall. He's the man here. You know, and God help me if he loses. We cannot give John Jones another victory. I will lose my mind. I'll be on suicide watch. I cannot handle it. We need this for the culture. We have got to have Tom Aspinall win this fight. We don't want John Jones to have another little victory because I'm going to lose. I'm just going to quit. I'm just done. My heart can't take it. So I got to ride with Tom Aspinall. But if you pick Curtis Blades again, like I said, you know, you're not crazy. Because he has all the skills to win. But I think it's mental with him. Next up, speaking of mental, we got Bilal Muhammad. The reason I say that is because Bilal Muhammad is a guy that has a strong will. He's a guy that we keep doubting, that's got to where he's got. He's picked up all these wins that we kept doubting him, and he earned this spot. And that belongs in your mind, right? Like that shows you he belongs where he is. And you got to put some stock in that because he's earned it, man. Bilal Muhammad has earned it, and I appreciate merit. I appreciate hard work because this is a sport at the end of the day. So, all props to him. But I don't think he's got the tools to beat Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards, like I mentioned about some other guys, he can be lazy out there. He don't always work. And that's why if you do have a bet on Bilal Muhammad, I understand that. But Leon Edwards, I just don't see where Bilal Muhammad's a threat to him because Leon Edwards already beat Colby. You know what I'm saying? He already beat Usman. And so I picked Colby to beat Leon Edwards because I was thinking that he would do what some people might be thinking Bilal Muhammad's going to do here. Put the pressure on, get the takedowns, close that distance, outwork him. But Colby didn't do that. And Usman did, but not enough. And if those guys can't do it, Bilal Muhammad ain't going to do it because those guys would beat Bilal Muhammad. So it's just not in the cards for him, in my opinion. I think Leon, and I could be wrong, so God help me, but I think we're going to see an aggressive Leon Edwards this time. I don't think he respects Bilal Muhammad. And I think he's gonna come out a little more aggressive. He's gonna catch Bilal with something here. That's just a feeling, you know. So it might be a boring fight, and I might wish I never said it, but I just feel like Edwards is gonna just disrespect him in there, and that's what we need from Leon Edwards. We need to see that anger, that fury. So we're gonna see it here, and I believe he'll finish Bilal Muhammad. And yeah, that's what I got for y'all. Quick little parlay. I'm gonna do a 3-piece. Leon Edwards, Tom Aspinall. I think that's solid. And then you could throw Marcin Pacquiao on there. That gives you a dog. That's a good bet right there. Another 3-piece. I think you do Sam Patterson, Arnold Allen, of course, and then where's another dog? Paddy Pimblett. Yeah. So any of those. Yeah, and if you're feeling froggy, you can put them all together, right? So you'd have Leon Edwards, Tom Aspinall, Paddy Pimblett, Arnold Allen, Marcin Pacquiao. Who else I say? Sam Patterson. Muhammad Makayev wouldn't be bad. Yeah, and I've got a lot of bets, y'all. I do a lot of parlays. I'm a degenerate. I'm crazy like that. I'm always winning some way. You know, I don't bet a lot of big money. I know people have been like, oh, you only bet 25. Oh, you only bet 50. Oh, you only bet 10. I mean, look, if I'm not your baby daddy and I don't owe you child support, you shouldn't be worried about how much money I'm spending out here. At the end of the day, you got to look at the bets. You know, and I got a homie that put 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and people were like, you shouldn't be betting so much. People always have something to say about other people's money, other people's pockets, and it's crazy to me. Look at the bets I'm making, and you bet what you can bet. And that's all. And that's it. And then we're friends. We're both winning. We can both get rich. So I definitely just want to put that out there. You know what I mean? Don't worry about what I'm spending. I spend that based on what I can afford. I'm doing this every week, y'all. I ain't rich, okay? So, you know, but look at the bets I'm putting out, and bet what you can afford. Bet your own judgment. And I'm not an expert at this. I did this because I love to talk about fights, and I didn't have a lot of people to talk about fights with. So it's all fun for me. I'm just having fun out here. You know, I feel like when I talk to y'all, I'm talking like I would on a phone call to a friend. Hey, man, this is just rambling and just off the dome and just talking about fights. And unfortunately, I'm talking to a phone, but I read every comment. I read every message. And if you guys ever want to know my other bets and my other parlays, like, hit me up, because I'll give them to you. Like I said, it ain't nothing for me. You know, we can talk about them, and you might even talk me out of some things. You know what I mean? So I at the end of the day, I appreciate the love, appreciate the hate, appreciate the discourse. And let's get paid. Toodles.